Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Mind your business. Only on Money FM 89.3.
Thanks for joining us on Money FM 89.3. I'm Ryan Huang on Mind Your Business, and we are zooming in on cybersecurity, which is so important these days. And given our ever-growing reliance on technology, it is no surprise that the cybersecurity field has become one of the most in-demand areas of today's digital world. And this is especially so for businesses, seeing how cybercrime is on the rise, and so is the risk it poses to them. With that in mind, Singtel has launched the Cyber Elevate Programme, the first of its kind holistic one-stop training and cyber incident management program. And here's the best part: businesses can take up the program at subsidized rates of up to 90%. So tell us more about the program and how it is equipping businesses with skills to navigate the digital world. Let's welcome on the show Tian Chong. He is the CEO for Singtel. Good morning, Tian Chong.
Good morning, Ryan.
Glad to have you back again. Happy New Year. And also Happy New Year to Hoe Ziqian. He is the Group Finance and IT Director for Putien.
Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Ziqian. Thanks for joining us. Good morning, guys. So let's talk about how things have been shaping up in the world of cybersecurity. And let's kick things off with Tian Chong. Talk to us about the evolution of cybersecurity. You've been in this business for so long. How has it changed in the past, especially with the pressures and challenges that SMEs have had to face?
Right. Well, over the years, as businesses undergo digital transformation and they automate more, they face their surface area of threat or attack gets bigger, and hence they face increasing cybersecurity threats. What we see is that while large enterprises have resources to manage this risk, small, medium enterprises often lack these resources and expertise, therefore making them prime targets for cyber threat. And in fact, last year in 2024, we saw an Association of SMEs survey that found that 90% of SMEs, in fact, the good thing is they've adopted, for example, AI to enhance their operations, but cybersecurity threats have also risen along with that. And what we saw in the survey was a 20% increase in scams year on year. And Ryan, what we see over the years when Singtel deals with many of these customers is that actually cyber incidents stem from many simple things like human mistakes, for example, like failing to apply security patches or falling victim to advanced social engineering like phishing, which even we professionals struggle to detect sometimes. And hence what we're doing over the years is, we will talk about the Cyber Elevate shortly, but Singtel is taking a three-pronged approach. We provide security at the network level, at the device level, and as well as we educate the public. So at the network level, we've launched solutions like Broadband Protect for our home customers, where we've blocked over 780 million malware attacks and 40 million phishing attempts since the product was launched in April of 2023. And another one is device protection, where we've launched a solution called Mobile Protect, where every day we filter out over 600,000 URLs and block 5,000 threats. So those are just some of the shocking statistics. Maybe I'll just say one more thing. Is in terms of the cybersecurity posture, right? While Singtel enhances security at the network level, it is really important to remind everyone that both individuals and businesses, they must stay informed and they must have equipped with the right tools to protect themselves from these evolving cyber threats, And therefore, I'm really excited, to share a little bit more about this Cyber Elevate later.
Yeah, a great overview of the cyber threat landscape, Tian Chong. And I think to your point, it can come from so many more places these days. The folks these days are using social media. You're doing marketing on various platforms and also social engineering, where you've got phishing attacks as well. And this is a great chance for me to bring in Ziqian into the conversation. You oversee the finance and the IT function of Putien, and you've been in the F&B and hospitality sector for over a decade. What are some of the key challenges on that front when it comes to cybersecurity? What are the technology gaps you're seeing in this sector?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think that many of us are aware, the margins in the F&B business are wafer thin. So we really do need to make every single dollar count. So more often than not, what we do see is that, F&B owners tend to reinvest every available dollar towards its operations and maybe not nearly as much towards the technology investments. But I guess, it's a good thing to see that, SMEs these days are starting to open up, to the use of technology to improve maybe their visibility into the business as well as operational improvements. In a way, maybe we have COVID to thank in a way, because during that difficult period of time, a lot of more stubborn F&B businesses were compelled and forced to make changes in some shape or form just to survive. So I think that to us is the challenge, right? How do we balance the budget and still make things work?
Yeah.
So that's always the really tricky part of operating in the F&B sector. And I guess some of us may also be aware that, due to the specific nature of the work, right, where our frontliners are always, busy, making the money right at the restaurant front, it's always a bit difficult to kind of, have that ask from them to actually, learn more new solutions or, technologies to help them in their work. So sometimes we also have to be a bit creative in how we actually plan the whole change management process. Yeah, so these are some of the gaps. And you realize that maybe it's not the technology that's the gap. Sometimes it's down to the mindset, how you actually plan.
Okay.
Yeah, it is how you creatively try to ease in some of these methods.
How do you do it creatively?
I mean, we try to do it on a more kind of grassroots level where we actually interact more with the frontliners. Yeah, so our guys will actually be there to actually do show and tell. This kind of methods. Vis-a-vis a Teams call with everyone.
To that level.
Yes, down to that level, because we do see that that's probably where it can click with some of these frontliners. You know that any system in the wrong hands would not be able to reap the desired results. So it may boil down to things as specific as this.
Yeah, it's important to get a buy-in from C-suite all the way to rank and file. Everyone plays a part. And let's get back to you, Tian Chong, talking about a very good point that Ziqian has brought up, the balancing of all these priorities. As an SME, you've got to balance the budget, you've got to keep the lights on, you've got to figure out how to make money the next day, and then you've got cybersecurity as a very pressing concern. Looking at some of the conversations you've been having with clients, how has that mindset shifted? Has it shifted enough?
Certainly, I think, first of all, on that topic, with the increasing looming threats coming from the cyber world, I think through that balancing act, what you see is that customers like Putien have no choice but to adopt a certain degree of automation as well as digital transformation, right, to keep up with productivity requirements. And like I said earlier, when our customers do more of that over time, it's inevitable that the surface area for these threats gets larger, right? It comes with it. And hence, I think like what Ziqian is saying and what we're discussing here, that balancing act becomes even more important, right? Because you can't hold back automation and productivity, but on the other hand, you need to think about the surface area as it gets larger and larger. So for us at Singtel, we have decades of experience in networks and cybersecurity, and hence we understand these challenges that businesses face. And in fact, we have a big training arm in the company called the Singtel Cyber Security Institute, where over the years we've trained more than 5,000 directors, C-suite, senior management, and operational staff in topics around cyber awareness, in topics around war gaming for cyber, readiness, and oversight. And we've seen a really good take-up rate, as all this starts evolving. And what we see is through this whole evolution, the small, medium enterprise in particular is a very vulnerable segment. And that's why, Ryan, we put together, this Cyber Elevate program.
Okay, I suppose it's a great point to make where you have all the expertise after decades of experience as SME. It's great to look forward to collaborations with someone who knows their stuff, work with someone who knows the cybersecurity landscape very closely. And to your point, leaders need to evolve and realize how they need to adapt to the current backdrop of all these threats. And you've got a lot of lessons to share in terms of leadership. What are some of the, I suppose, takeaways you hope people can learn from in your experience so far?
Yeah, Ryan, for me, being a leader, I think there are two big principles that show up over the years. One is around this topic around how leaders need to be adaptive. And for me, adaptive means a leader need to be able to get different teams, different groups to collaborate and work together and come out of their silos. And I think today, in a complex world where there's a poly-crisis environment, where things are very uncertain, unpredictable, we have found out that no one single group can solve a problem like the cyber topics. And you need different groups to come together to collaborate. I think that's one leadership trait that is very much needed. The second one is about how a leader is evolving from, if I can use an analogy, from what we used to say, a symphony conductor. You don't need to be skilled at playing every instrument. You just need to conduct and get different, musicians to play together, to becoming a jazz band leader where you need to do that, but there's no script and you need to improvise and still be able to create beautiful music and lead calmly and, and carry on, So that's what we see. Those are two concepts which leaders need to understand, even for topics around cybersecurity.
Yeah, the world is so complicated these days. You need to be able to bring out the best in your folks and also figure out how to have these cross-disciplinary collaborations, because you need a bit of everything.
And Ryan, if I can just quickly add, and that's exactly why for the Cyber Elevate program, what Singtel has done is we've actually gotten different groups to collaborate. We've actually pulled together a digital forensic and incident response company called Black Panda, along with Drew and Napier, a local leading legal company. And together with Singtel, we offer this program that provides cyber awareness education, data breach management response, and the incident response. And the best thing is, like you said earlier, SMEs who actually attend this program, it is Skills Future back. So they actually receive up to 90% subsidies. And since launch, we've seen close to 100 SMEs sign up for the program, with a lot more in the funnel expressing interest. So we're very excited, to have Putien join the program, in fact, and then more to come.
Now, talking about Putien, Ziqian, you bridge a very interesting division between finance and IT. So that's not very common these days.
Well, I would think so, but I do see that there are actually a lot of overlapping skills that, in the two disciplines that we can kind of mix and match together. Yeah. So it's served me well in my career so far.
Okay, so I suppose this is a great time also to bring you in to talk about some of the leadership advice you have for folks trying to run their company, especially in this backdrop of cybersecurity risks and all the things they need to manage. What have been some of the lessons you managed to pick up along the way?
Oh, so for us, the lessons, I think the key thing is to always be to be vigilant, right? To be on the ball, because the threat landscape these days is ever evolving, ever changing, right? You never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So what we do is that we keep it very, very simple. Always don't be afraid to ask questions, okay? Because at the end of the day, I'd rather be laughed at than to have a lot of ifs and maybes in my cyber strategy, and only to realize that this led to certain loopholes or lapses on our end. So I think is to always keep that open mind, be open towards learning, because nobody knows everything, right?
Yeah.
So that's actually the key advice, because we always need to stay vigilant. And even if one day you achieve a certain level of resiliency, I think it's also important to never rest on your laurels and keep challenging yourself.
All right.
I know for us in the F&B trade, it's a bit extreme to do the if it ain't broken, don't break it, right? I think maybe you can choose to shake it once in a while to kind of see, to keep everyone in that whole cyber value chain, interested and on their toes. I don't think that's going to be a bad thing for the industry for sure.
All right, always stay open to learning. We've been in conversation with Hoe Ziqian. He is the Group Finance and IT Director for Putien. And Tian Chong, he's the CEO for Singtel. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ryan.
All right, stay Money FM 89.3.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.